Hi, welcome back to Repairing Lawnmowers for Profit. In a minute I'm going to go pick up this Briggs & Stratton Qualcst petrol lawnmower I've run on Facebook Marketplace for just £20. I was offered at £25. I just said, will you take 20? From the looks of it, it just wants a pull cord on it, but we'll go and get it and we'll see exactly what it wants. But I mean, £20 for a Briggs & Stratton Qualcst lawnmower, you know, we can sell that easily for £60–70. It's £40 clear profit just for putting a pull cord on this. So let's see what we get when we pick it up. I'm going to go pick it up now with the kids. They're delighted with their profit from last time, so let's go and pick this mower up. I love it. I love just sitting there on my phone, and next thing I've got this thing come up. It's like £20 for a lawnmower. You have to look. I mean, it's only been listed about 12 minutes, and you've really got to be quick nowadays, especially on Facebook at this time of year. So keep your eye out all the time for things. Look on eBay all the time. Look on Facebook all the time. Someone left a message in the comments section the other day saying, where do you find all these lawnmowers? And I've discussed this a lot of times, but just look on eBay, nearest first, condition, used, or for parts or not working. Look on Facebook Marketplace, put an advert on Facebook, put an advert in your post office window, ask around. And if you start doing this, you'll soon find that if you pick one up to repair for profit, they've always got an old one they want rid of, or if you sell one, they've always got a problem with the one that they've already had, and you can go and pick that one up as well. So there's all sorts of ways of doing this. Just you know, be a bit flexible and think about it, and just ask around. Basically, just get started, and once you get started, you'll find it's like a bit of a snowball effect. You can just kind of keep it going, and you'll just find that all of a sudden you've got more than you can handle. I kind of just getting one or two at the time at the minute. So I'm busy with a lot of things at the minute. But I'm going to go and pick this up for £20. I mean, I could probably have this home, put a pull cord on it, and have it sold by tomorrow, and probably make myself about £45–50 profit, just to push mower this. But as soon as people see Briggs & Stratton and Qualcst on it, they're going to go buy it. It's to be honest, the photo, I've just tried to look for the photograph on it. Oh, hiya. What? Hiya. What?
There's a balloon.
Oh, balloon. It's Richard Branson, look. Are you lads ready? I've got two keen mower boys now. You alright now, David?
Yeah.
A lot of my mower subscribers have been asking if you're better.
Oh, yeah.
You're alright now, aren't you?
Ready.
Good lad. Say thanks to a lot of them were worried about you.
Thank you.
There you go. Right, come on then. I've just got back with this. This is the £20 mower, and I've even got the little pull cord handle. So I was just having a quick look around it, and just pull that spark plug lead off. I was just having a quick look around it, and I tipped it over. It seems to have a replacement carbon. I'm not seeing a white one like that. It looks like a new one put on it. And I was just having a look at the blade, and I saw this drive belt cover. And I didn't know when I paid for this, it actually has a self-drive on as well. Because this hole here normally goes in around here, but it goes in right at the back. I didn't see it on the photograph, so it's actually got a self-drive on. So if we can get this working, for £20 I paid for it, I reckon I could probably sell this for, I don't know, maybe 100, maybe £80 profit, just for putting a pull cord on. So let's hope that's all it needs, because I'm a little bit wary of these situations where all of a sudden the pull cord's just snapped. Normally it's when something else has gone wrong, it's got bent underneath. So that's where I'm at. I've got a £20 Qualcst Briggs & Stratton lawnmower with a self-drive, and the blade all looks alright underneath as well. So it's all complete with a grass box. So this is a great start. So let's take a look at removing this pull cord cover. First things first, let's just put a pull cord on here and let's try this mower. It's just starting to get dark actually. I actually went to the park with kids on my way back instead, but just while we've got a bit of light, let's just take this cover off. Let's just make a start. Just undo these three parts here. Hopefully they're all there. I always like to have a good look around and see if there's anything missing as well, especially when you've picked one up with a pull cord that's broken. That's a slightly different bolt as well. That's slightly bigger, that might be a 12. So I've got that one on the other side. Let's just take a look at this one underneath here. These are a bit annoying, these little covers, because they're kind of getting away a little bit. Not too bad, but just to make it as easy to get in. There we go. I've got that one. I'm just rushing about a bit really, because I'm just worried about it getting too dark. That one's just dropped out the bottom there, so I've got that. Let's just get a slightly bigger one. That tells me really that probably someone's had a look in here. I don't know if you remember the last video, I said that one that actually goes in there normally has a wider part that actually covers the exhaust guard. It doesn't look like that one's there. I'm going to get a bigger socket and we'll take that one off. So what I'm hoping to see in here is the rest of the pull cord, and it's just all sort of wrapped around. I'm hoping the spring hasn't gone. Let's take that off. See there, that's kind of makeshift, is that. You can see there, can't you, that someone's obviously had this apart already. That's just a telltale sign, because that's not as it would normally come. So you pick these up as standard, so let's just take this off, see what we've got. Yeah, it's just, like you said, it's just snapped. That's great, that's good, that's what I wanted to see. Yeah, you see there, all the springs working and everything. That's not too bad. And see here, this governor spring's still sat on here like that. And everything else looks alright, so this looks like it's going to be decent, does this? Especially if this self-drive works. So let's try and get this pull cord out of here. Let's try and thread a new one on. So I've actually got a really detailed video of how to replace these pull cords. If you look in the top right hand corner of your screen, you'll actually see there's a real detailed video on my site about that. But just in this video, I'm just going to kind of do a bit of a rough and ready version really, and just pull all this out of here. Just get it as far out as I can. Just cut this old pull cord off in here. You can see it's all just tangled up. If you look in here, you can just get hold of this end here, and you can just pull this out. What I like to normally do is just get a clamp, and I'll just clamp this recoil and do it, but it's that stuck at the minute, I'm actually not even having to clamp it. So I'll just undo this here. Take that off there. It's fine if you just clamp this off like this, when it does start to spring back, it's not sort of going to take your fingers off. It just holds everything together. At the minute it's not really doing anything. I'm just hoping the spring's not gone inside, but because the actual pull cord has snapped, I'm pretty sure it's that. So I'm going to get some needle nose pliers, and I'm going to get this pull cord knot here. You can just see in there, I might just get it with my fingers. Just can't do it. I'm going to pull that knot there back through towards me, and we'll just cut that off. Right, so I've grabbed some. See if I can just get hold of this here. I'm just hoping I can just pull that towards me a little bit. You can see there I've got hold of that. I'm just going to cut that off there. And I should just be able to pull this out from the other side. Hopefully I can just pull this whole thing out like that. Now, when I undo this, see how much you're going to get on the spring. It's a lot easier to do it that way. I'll thread this new rope back through, line everything up, and we'll put this back together. So what I'm going to do now, I've got no rope in, is this. I'm going to turn this anti-clockwise. I'm just going to keep going until I get loads of tension on it. I can't even tell you how many times, but I'm just going to keep going until I kind of can't hold it anymore. I'm going to clamp it in a good position so all the holes line up, and I'm going to thread a new pull cord through. You can actually buy these pull cords. You can actually buy them in like 50 or 100 metre lengths. I've linked to the actual ones I buy on the website at Repair Lawnmowers for Profit. But I just get a load of tension on this, just so it's definitely going to rewind when you do it. It's probably a specific amount of times you should do it, but you can kind of feel if you let go it's going to start spinning back on you, and I'm happy with that. So I'm going to get the clamp. Just put this clamp back on here. I'm just going to clamp this down for now, and I'm going to have a look where the holes are, and I'll show you exactly what I mean in a minute. What I'm looking to do now, you see the hole on the back there? I need to get that hole lined up with this little notch in here, which is where the pull cord threads through. So the tip to doing this extra little trick is to get that hole and this hole lined up, so when you've burnt the end of your new pull cord you can just push it straight through in one little motion. So I'm going to have a fiddle about with that. I'm just going to line that up. Sometimes just get it with your thumb and just let it go around to where you want. The key to it really is, as I said, just getting it lined up and just letting it go a little bit at a time, just so you can see where you want it. Let's have a look. See, I could cut this bit out really filming, but I don't like to. I like to do it. I like to show people. So you can see there, this notch, this little notch here is at the top. It's just there above my finger there, and I'm going to turn that. If I can just keep hold of it against the spring, I'm going to look down this little hole. I'm going to line the whole thing up. When I've got it where I want it, I'm going to clamp it off. So I'll grab that, grab my clamp again. I'm going to clamp that off in the exact position, so it's really easy just to push this new pull cord rope through. A little bit fiddly. Once you've done it a few times, it's not too bad, to be fair. I mean, you know, I've got 100 metres of pull cord rope here for probably about a tenner. I've probably used it, you know, I don't know, 30-40 times. Probably need to buy some more actually. So I'm just going to make sure that's nice and lined up there so I can push this through. Just a little fiddle about really, but I like people to see my struggles. You know, doesn't always go alright, does it? You never know, it might go wrong. I might get on what my kids call you've been framed, they call it you've been injured. Anyway, that's pretty lined up there, it's not too bad, you can see there. If I look down that hole, you can kind of see in there, and that's good enough. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to slide this new pull cord rope in here. So, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this old pull cord rope, and I'm going to lay it down on the floor here, because people often email me saying, what's the correct length pull cord? Well, as long as it's not too short, it don't really matter, does it? You can always make it off, can't you, and shorten it at this end here, redo it again. But what I do as a guide is I'll get that, and then I'll just line my new piece out next to it. If anyone knows the correct length of these, put them in the comment section below. I'm always interested to know these things, but this is the way I've always done it. I just roll a bit out like this, look. That's it. Wouldn't be any easier. Roll it out like that, and I generally leave a little bit extra at both ends just for tying the knots. So if I take that out to about there, as you can tell, nothing's really an exact science with me. If I take that out to there, I'll put you down here on it. I should be able to cut that. Like that, I've got that cut off. It's very live, this, isn't it? It's a bit rough and ready, this film, isn't it? So next thing we're going to do, just burn the end of this. This just helps push it back through. You know, when you're pushing those through those little holes I showed you, this just actually solids the end up, like you can see here. It makes it a lot easier to push through the actual recoil itself. I'll put that there. I'll do this at the other end, so we're going to need to do this at the other end as well. So I might as well do that now. I'll just burn that a little bit. It stops it fraying as well. Right, okay. I'll take this and push this through this hole here. I'm just undoing this clamp a little bit. I'm just going to back it off a little bit more. I just can't quite get it where I want there. At least I can just move it around a little bit, just to give myself a little bit more of a chance. I'm just pushing it up there like that. You can see there, it's just popped out there. So that's good. All I'm going to do now is just take that off there, pull it through here. I'm just going to tie a knot in the end here. That's all you need to do really. Just put that in. And don't let go of the clamp at this point. This is the time when you really want to be leaving the clamp exactly where it was. I like to just put a couple in there. As long as the knots are small enough, it should be fine. So just put a couple of knots in there. I'll just pull it tight a little bit with some pliers as well. And what I like to do as well is just have a look inside here. Pull it back through and have a look inside here and just push this down a little bit. Just push it down into the actual inside of this recoil, so you don't want it catching on anything. I've not had any problems doing that. This is just, I think I've got 3.5 millimeters, 100 meters of pull cord there. 3.5 millimeters by 100 meters. I think that's like a tenner. I think one of these on Amazon's about £8 just for one actual length of it. So that's that. And what I've said before is you want to just keep this actual clamp in position, because you don't want it to rewind now and take up all this without actually having the handle on the other end. This one's actually great because it's actually giving me the actual handle as well, so just pull that whole bit out of there. I might have to cut it off actually if it's that bad. Here, so the actual knot's in the other end. Let's just cut that off. Should be able to pull that out, and I can get my new pull cord here, which is just this bit here. I stick it through here and I push it through the end of that with something. We'll just tie a knot in that as well. Just push that through there, grab it with some pliers. In fact, I'm just going to mention something before I forget. I just want to say thank you to Stephen Drew, who watched the channel and actually managed to fix his SV150 engine. He found one of my videos on the, I think it was on the spring configuration. I didn't realise this, but apparently on my YouTube homepage I have a donate button or something. I must have put it on years ago. Anyway, he sent me some money through PayPal just to say thanks. and he said get yourself a beer, and I thought that was really great of him, so thanks very much for that. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to get myself some surgical forceps. Now that may sound really weird, but if anyone else watches a great channel on here called Mixed Mowers, he does a lot of videos, and his channel's just growing and growing. He's doing a really great job, to be fair. And he did a live stream the other day, and he had some surgical forceps, and he actually clamped the fuel lines off. So he suggested that I get some. So with the money that he sent me through PayPal, I'm actually going to get some surgical forceps. I'm going to use that money, and I'm going to put it back into this little small business I'm doing here, just so I can clamp the fuel lines off. So I guess every time I use that, I'll think of him. So that's very kind of you, thank you very much. So I'm going to hold this pull cord here, and now I'm going to undo the clamp. I'm just going to keep everything tight because I want this to rewind back in slowly. And this really ain't really costing me anything apart from a little bit of time. And I bought that 100 metre length of that cord years ago, so you know, although I've had to originally pay for it, it's kind of mine. So I'm just going to let this go in slowly, let it take it all up. You can see got enough spring tension there. Now we've got one fully working pull cord. Another thing to note here, see these little white parts here? I think I call them pawls, or they pop out. I actually had a lawnmower that somebody sold to me once. It didn't have any compression. It pulled over, it just felt like that. And I couldn't work it out for a while. When I took it off, the initial pull on the cord didn't actually pull these out. So what you want to do, with everyone you do, is make sure that when you even slowly just pull this cable back, this pull cord rope, make sure these open. If they don't, just spray them up with a bit of WD-40. So I've actually had lawnmowers sold to me where someone said it's lost compression just because those parts didn't actually catch on the actual engine itself when it was trying to start. Right, so I'm going to have to pack up just for tonight. That's not where the video's ending, but I'm just letting everybody know that it's getting dark. So this lawnmower looks nice and clean and tidy in here. It's got not a mess at all, really. I'll probably blow it out with the compressor. This kill switch looks a little bit dirty, but generally it looks in good, clean, tidy condition. So, well, it'll be in a minute on the video. In about 10 seconds time, it'll be the next day, and I'll be able to put this cover back on and try and fire this up. So just going to do one more thing just at the minute, because I can't sleep if I don't know if it's got the full amount of governor springs on it. It'll annoy me. I know there's one on it, I can see it from the far side. If it's got this other governor spring on as well, that means I've not got to get any more. So, oh yeah, that's good. Both there, look. That's what I was hoping to see. Yeah, and everything moving as it should. See if we can get this primer to work. Yeah, we've got a primer that works as well. So I think when we get this cover back on, we should have a fully working lawnmower. Air filter don't look too bad either. Right, let's give this a go then. So, as I said, I've got this pull cord on. It's next day now, and it's another rainy summer day, so I'm a bit limited, so I don't want my camera getting too wet. Let's give this a go. I'm really hoping this starts and runs alright, and I'm really hoping even more so that the self-drive works. There we go. One fully working Briggs & Stratton engine and a fully working self-drive as well. Almost sounds a little bit too quiet, which may sound a bit odd, but I don't really remember them sounding that quiet last few times I've done them. It'd be interesting. I was going to actually wait till it dries out and just attempt to cut my grass with that, because it almost sounds like the blade isn't spinning. I'm sure it is, but it just sounds really quiet. So it all starts and runs and works, and luckily for me the self-drive works. That's an absolute bargain for £20, so I can now get on with the rest of the servicing with this mower. Right, let's give this mower a bit of a clean off before we do the rest of the servicing. Just got cobwebs and old grass, so I'm going to get in, give it a right good clean up. You can tell, can't you, just 20 seconds later how much better it looks. Even now it looks better, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Got my mobile camera led back, aren't I, David?
Yeah.
Back out here. I'm actually going out to pick another lawnmower up later on. There's another one with a broken pull cord. It's another famous SV150. Another £15-20 I think I paid. £15, I can't remember. Really cheap because I didn't really want it. But I can't turn them down at that price. Especially if they just want a pull cord on. Right, let's just clean some of this mess from under here. I always take these belt guards off. I'm just going to take some of this grass off with a hose pipe. As you can see, there's a lot under there. Just to make a start, and then I'm going to get the rest of it off with a scraper and a wire brush. Just clean everything off. It's really thick with grass under there, isn't it?
Yeah, but it is.
Yeah, well. There. Right, so I'm just going to have a look at this blade on here. Some strange things going on. So I've just removed this spark plug lead off here. What I want to show you, I've just tipped this up. This is another reason why I always look at these belt guards. You might think, why does he always bother doing this? But there's always something you can find. Now, this looks as loose as anything. I'm not sure what's going on here. And if you look here, there's a great big bit of metal here. I don't even know what this is for. And where it's supposed to be screwed on, it's all just loose. You can see how it's moving about. So if I was to send that out like that, I mean, who knows what that is. This could easily potentially slice this blade off. So I'm going to get this wire brush, clean that off. I'm going to take this blade off here. It did seem to me like the blade was running really near this guard. I mean, look how near that is. Maybe that's correct, maybe it's not. It looks very near, as long as it's not touching it. I suppose it's not a problem, but I am going to take this blade off. I'm going to find out what's happening under here. Maybe it's just got pushed off with grass, I'm not so sure. So let's get impacts on here and let's take this blade off. Right, so that's off. Let's just have a look here. Yeah, this belt guard. I'm not sure what this is. Anyway, I think it's like fishing or something, isn't it? What's this? I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's supposed to be part of this, but there must be two screws or a bolt or something under here. Yeah, there's one there. Looks like a 10 there, so we'll take that off as well. We'll get this off. I mean, what's that? How do you pick that up when you're cutting grass? I've never seen that before. Right, so I've got this little, wherever it is, this little bolt off. It's 8mm. Just look at all this in here, look. Won't take much more than that to start dragging this belt off, so I'm going to clean that off, take that off and out of the way. Bits like this, look. I'm not sure where that big bit of metal was supposed to be housed, or how that's got in there, or where it's dropped down from, or anything. Very, very unusual, that. So we'll get that out. I'll probably blow this from the compressor and just clean around all these areas here. This belt don't look too bad. As we know, the self-drive was working. So all I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to clean all this mess out of here. I'm just going to bolt this back on. What I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to make sure it's bolted on properly as well, and just make sure that it's exactly as it should be and it isn't actually catching the blade. As I said, it looked like the blade was very near to it, and maybe that's correct, but I want to make sure it's back on correctly before I do anything else with this. And you might notice in here just how bad this deck is in here. I actually cleaned a bit of this off with a hose pipe, but it's really bad. You know, hit any more of that on there for a year or so and it's going to rot through. So I'll spend a bit of time cleaning that off, clean this belt guard off, and I'll put it back on. So I've just cleaned this off. I started to clean this off with the hose pipe. You can see here this has actually got a metal part which is identical to this one that's come off, so now I know where it's from. I can put this back on. So this just slides in here. I'm not exactly sure what it does, but the one on the other side's there. So all I'm going to do is push it back in these little clips here and under this little clip here, make sure it's all secure, and push it back down. It actually goes down the back of there. I think it just helps it stay a bit rigid. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Don't know why it's there, but it's fallen out, so I need to make sure that this is going to stay in. I'm going to just clean that off there and we'll put this all back together. But very strange setup that. Oh, that is flying over there. Anyway, very strange. I've never ever seen that before. I'm not sure why it's there, but obviously it's not the best design because it's fallen out. But I'm going to make sure it's solid. I'm going to put it back on, so there must be a reason for it being there. And I'm just going to put this back on this mower, making sure it's bolted on properly. So A lot of people probably skip this step. They think, well, the drive's working, I'll just leave it. But the problem is, when you first start doing this, like I used to do, I used to send them out like that, and people cut the grass, it's about, you know, 9 foot high, and then they're just expected to cut it all, and the grass just gets underneath it. If you haven't got a belt guard on particularly, it just snaps the belt, and then of course they're ringing you, blaming you, saying you've sold me this machine, I've only used it once, and the belt snapped. So make sure you do this, and when you sell a lawnmower, always put the height setting like somewhere between the middle and the highest setting, so if someone does take it away and they've not cut the grass in a long time, it's not trying to do too much work, it's not collecting too much grass in this actual guard here. Right, so that's fitted again, it's in the right place, everything's nice and solid. Some 1/4 inch screws through here, just slightly protrudes at the top, you can see here. It's screwed in, it's nice and tight, and I'm happy with that. I'm happy it's in the right place. Moves a little bit there, but I know everything's nice and tight, so if the blade hits it now, I'll have to have a good look at this blade and make sure it's not bent. So these little pins here on this blade adapter are all sat nice as well, nothing broken off. So all I have to do now is just get this blade, I'm going to sharpen it up. In fact, it did seem to, I'm not sure if it made a funny noise, or it just, I don't know, it didn't seem to have the usual sound that I'm used to hearing on these little Briggs engines. So I might take this out, just cut a bit of grass in my local area, just, you know, on curbside, and tidy things up and just test it and make sure it actually does cut. Because if this blade's sat at the wrong height or something like that, I could have a problem. So I'm going to test this before I clean it up too much. So for now, I'm just going to go in the garage. I'm going to just sharpen this up on this little bench grinder I've got. Just put an angle back on it, and I'm going to put that back on there. I'm also going to clean all this off as well before I put it back, so this deck doesn't rot. Right, what I've decided to do is I've just used this little Ryobi, and believe it or not, it actually undoes these engine bolts under here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly unbolt the engine and remove it from this mower, and just take it completely off, just so I can tip this over and clean this deck off, because now I've got some decent tools, I can kind of do this in, you know, seconds. You see that? That's gone. That's exactly what I need. So with these 3 bolts removed, all you got to do is just take this kill switch cover off, and you can just see a little bit easier. Just doing this, I don't even think you really need to take this off, but I'm just going to take it off and show you anyway. If you take that off there, move that out of the way, you can see in here that kill switch wants cleaning off. You can see this actual cable here. All you've got to do is unhook this cable here from this actual lever, and then you can get this whole thing off. The engine will move out the way, and I can actually turn this mower over without actually having this connected whatsoever. So to do this, all you need to do is, sometimes you can use your fingers, just get some needle nose pliers and just nip this here and actually pull this cable back through this recess here, and that'll give you the slack that you need on this cable to just unhook it. So once you've nipped it with some pliers, just pull this thing towards you and unhook it like that. You can see there, and you can pick this whole engine up. Just leave it out the way, and of course I'm going to have to hook that drive belt on again. It's not a problem. Set this belt guard off again. Now I've got decent bolts and screws in it and stuff, I can do that. But what I can do now is I can flick this over, I can just get in here, because as I said, this is a real mess. I'm just going to spend 10 minutes giving this a proper clean. You can see in here I want all this out of here as well, make sure it's all clean and tidy. I'm not going to have a problem with the drive when I've sold this. It's a right mess. It just gives you such good access being able to do that. And with tools like this here, this impact here is great, but this little Ryobi one as well, believe it or not, had enough power just to take these bolts out of this engine, and it just allows me to do a bit of a better job than I could have done previously. So I'll get a wire brush on there, we'll get in here with a compressor and we'll clean all that out. Right, so this is a good deal tidier than it was before. There's loads of grass build up on here, just cut that off as well. This is all clean and tidy down here, nothing's going to obstruct it, and it's not 100% perfect, but it's as good as it's going to get. I've just sprayed it with the hose pipe just to keep a load of dust down as well, so I'll just put that back the right way around. I'm going to pull this engine back on. In fact, while it's off and I can get in easy, I'm just going to clean this awful oil here. It's just like grease and oil stuck together. I'll clean that off while I can get in. As I said, I ain't going to clean this right up just yet, because I want to test this on some local grass and make sure it's cutting right, but I will clean that little bit up first. I've just dropped this engine back into place, and I've just hooked this belt guard on first. There's only actually just this one bolt through here holding it all on, but before I put it back together I'm going to put this belt actually on here as well, so otherwise it's a bit more of a faff to actually try and put it on afterwards. So when you drop the engines back on these self-drive ones, just remember to hook this belt on as well. So I'm going to get the next two, these big bolts, I'm going to put them through here and just get them started, and I'm going to tighten this engine back up. It's just so much easier to do, to clean off underneath, and you can see the difference it's made. Right, so that's all clean and tidy now. I've just sharpened this blade up here, as you can see. I'm sure you'll agree it's a lot tidier underneath. And this belt guard's properly fitted now, it's not all moving about. I don't know if you can see here just how much more clearance we've got here between this actual blade here and this guard. It was nearly hitting that before, it was right next to it. In fact, there's only a bit of grass stopping it, is it, I think. So that looks to be right to me. It's all set on the pins okay, all sharpened up, so I'm happy with the underside of it. Next job to do is just reconnect this kill switch wire here. This is actually the cable that operates the kill switch wire, so I'll show you how to do that. We'll just tip it back over and we'll connect that up. But it's always worth just having a look under here and making sure this part's right before you sell it on. Right, so let's see if we can do this kind of live. I'll just get this cable, you've just got to get this underneath here, you can see there, just poke it up there, and all you've got to do with this is just pull it back like these. Let's see the little plastic catches there, actually, that open up. You push them back through, it shouldn't pull back, and when you actually operate this here, you should see this kill switch is moving. This lever's here, it's all disengaging with this kill switch. So while I'm there, I'll clean that kill switch off and make sure there's no problems with that. I'll just refit this kill switch cover, just pulling that off with the compressor. You can see how clean it is. This little screw here, it's actually a little cut out here. You see that cut out there? If you drop that in that hole, just press it down and just take a 1/4 inch socket there and actually put this on. Sometimes these mowers have these covers on, sometimes they don't. I prefer them with them on, just saves them getting dirt on. That's all back and clean and tidy. Now what I like to do when I've had the blade off and I've had it tipped up and the engine off and everything kind of upside down, is when I get it back together I just like to fire it up just in case there's any white smoke problems, and let it run off a bit, just to make sure it's going to fire up okay and everything sounds okay, we've not got anything in the wrong place. So we'll just fire this up and we'll just check everything's okay. And I'm happy that the blade's in the correct place now. I was slightly worried about that. So sometimes if it's hard to pull these over, it's because you've had it tipped up and the oil's gone where it shouldn't go. Sometimes you just need to remove the spark plug, pull it over a few times without the spark plug in, and it'll like kind of unlock itself. It's called being hydro locked. So if you do that sometimes after you've had it tipped up, it might just help you. Probably tell it pulled over real smooth before, and just then it looked like it was going to kick back. Probably see there's a lot of white smoke there, so what I'm going to have to do is just run this in sections, and this is just because this engine's been tipped up. Actually when I unbolted it from this deck, it actually rolled over completely, so not the probably the best bit of the tutorial anyway, but that's what happens basically if you tip your lawnmower engine up or over. So I'll run this in sections. If you ever see one of these for sale that does that, just run it for a few minutes and you'll find that this smoke just wears off. So I'll run it just for another couple of seconds. We'll just see if it starts to burn off. Certainly sounds a lot better than it did before, actually. Not sure if it was catching underneath on that actual belt guard. And you can probably see there that smoke's just starting to clear now, just drifting off the exhaust. All it is that the oil's got to the exhaust, it's just burning the oil off. So one more thing I just want to check before I actually go out and just cut some local grass here just to test this mower, is I'm just going to check the actual self-drive works. I forgot to do that, so I'm going to check that now. Self-drive's working a lot better than it did before, probably just because this actual belt's getting the proper tension. There's nothing getting in the way, there's no grass clogging up this actual transmission, because it moves when you pull the lever at the top. It actually pulls it back and it sort of activates the belt against the actual blade adapter, so that should be pulling across nice and tight. It actually felt really powerful, did that drive. So let's take this mower out and let's just test it. Right, in a minute we're going to go out and we're going to go and just test this, but I wanted to show you in here. So if you can see in there, it actually looks a bit red. It looks like someone's mixed this as 2-stroke, but there's not a lot left in there, so I'm going to top this up with fresh. We'll go give this a good test and just make sure it cuts and actually boxes the grass up correctly. You need a bigger bike, you're growing too fast, aren't you? I've got some handy helpers, haven't I? We're going to go and test this mower, aren't we? Come on. I need a mobile cameraman. Cheer up. Sats are over. You finished school nearly, haven't you? Yeah. Put you on through there then. See, let's see if we can start this mower. I'm going to go up there and back and we'll see if it cuts alright. Alright? We'll burn some of this smoke off, can't we?
Yep.
Let's give this a go. Right, so that appears to be cutting nice anyway. I'm quite happy with that. What I need to do with this grass bag, make sure the handle's not on the inside, but what I want to try and do is just make sure it's picking up the grass properly. As you can tell there, it's actually cutting and bagging this grass up really nice. That's what I was concerned about at the beginning. See all that coming out of there. That's what I want to see. That's how we know that this actual blade's on right and everything's cutting and boxing it up right. It's getting the correct backlift. If you don't have enough backlift on the blade, this chute at the back here, you see this chute at the back, this hole, if you don't have enough sharpness on the blade, enough backlift or the correct angle, it won't actually push these clippings through and they won't actually end up in this box. And that's why it's really important to have not just a sharp blade, but a blade with the correct angle on. So what I always do is I just follow the natural angle of the blade. You can see I've only been up and down there a couple of times, and it's done a good job, and it's picked all these clippings up as well. So for me, that's a good enough test for this mower. I'll probably just leave it running for, I don't know, 5 minutes or something like that and check there's no other problems with it. But I'm happy with that. I just wanted to do this quick test just to make sure it was all cutting all right. Right, I'm going to spend 5 minutes cutting all this grass here because I walk by here pretty much every day and it's annoying me. So I'm just going to cut round here, give this a few more minutes test. Right, so I've just spent a good 10 minutes just cutting up and down here and just around here in the back. I'm happy that this is fine now. There's no smoke flying out of anywhere. I've got boxes and boxes of grass, so that's had a real good test. I ain't got right to this edge here, but it cuts well and it boxes up well and it runs well. And there's no smoke, there's no stalling problems. So I'm happy that I don't need to service the carb on this. What I will do is I'll change the oil and I'll just clean it up a bit. And I think we're going to sell this. I'm probably going to ask about £100 for this. I'm going to actually try and make about £80 profit on this. And once again, I'll probably just list it on Facebook Marketplace. Right. Yep. You're outgrowing that as well, aren't you? Getting too big, you lads. It's supposed to be me that's getting new bikes. Look at you, you're massive on there now, aren't you? Is it better now for biking on?
Yeah.
So let me get this right then. You want to go to the park?
Yeah.
Even though I'm in the middle of this. I've got all my tools out. It's now that you want to go to the park.
Yeah.
Right. You can help me tidy up then, can't you?
Yes.
So you might have noticed it took a little bit of starting up when I got this just that wasteland down the corner, but I haven't actually put another plug in this yet, so I'm just going to do that now. Just take this, oh that's quite loose actually. Take this one out of here and have a quick look at it. I'll probably change the oil and I'm just going to clean around this, around the carb and make sure it's all tidy under this recoil. I'm going to sell this. That's going to go. Let's just get one of these. I use these NGK B2LM plugs. Let's get one of these out of here. I'll pop that in there. They're only about, I think they're about £1 each these, so it's always worth replacing these. Probably start up a little bit easier as well. I'm just going to take this cover off in a minute and just check there's not lots of dirt and debris near this ignition coil as well. Make sure that's not stopping it start up properly. I'll pop that back on as well. Must make sure that clicks when you push it on, by the way. They're all different these, but you normally kind of hear a click like that. I just remembered, of course, I've filmed this video over a few days actually, so I've kind of forgotten what I've done. I actually forgotten I put this right at the beginning. I've actually put this pull cord on it. So yeah, I've probably had this about a week and I've only had a limited amount of time this week to work on it. So I've kind of forgotten what I've done, but I've obviously had this recoil cover off. I've looked in there. I'm just going to take this air filter off here. I'm just going to get the compressor in here. I'm just going to clean around the back of this carb. Just tidy this up a little bit. I'm going to get some old fuel. I'm just going to wash that air filter off as well. Just clean it up a bit. Pop this back together. So a few little things left to do. I'm going to have a look at this grass bag in a minute, make sure it's right. Actually just put this, if you hook that through the back of these, like that, and then just push it under. And actually see, it goes straight through. I see a lot of these that are kind of around the side and pulling against each other. Probably frustrated a lot of you. Anyway, you're watching me pull it all the way from there, so I'll probably get some comments on that. Saying I don't know what I'm doing. He's not very good at it. I love YouTube comments. I read them all really, but some of them are horrible, aren't they? You just have to live with it, don't you? I'm fairly thick-skinned, so do your best. I've got some great subscribers who leave some great comments as well, so I really do appreciate that. So I'm going to just get this grass bag and we're just going to have a look at it, see if we can find it. I've actually got another one to do here as well. Look, we'll get to that another day. I've actually got an idea for that. I've got an idea. I bought that because I hate these. I bought that as an idea because I'm going to do something strange with it, and I'll get to that in the next video. But I'm just going to fire this mower up again, make sure it runs okay. I'm happy with that and just clean it up. But I'm going to sort this grass bag out because it's all over the top of here. It's annoying, you can't even get hold of the handle. Just remembered I haven't actually done the oil on this mower, so I'm just going to have a quick look at this, and if this wants doing, I'll change that as well. Actually, that looks really clean, doesn't it? That's not too bad as well. I might leave that, that looks pretty good. I won't put that, I've changed that. When I come to sell it, I'll probably just put that the oil's nice and clean. So, that's great. You actually thread those right into check, by the way. These, you have to thread this right down to the bottom and then take it out. That's how you check the oil level. You don't just drop it in on this type. And you've got to make sure there's a little actual, like a washer under here, a rubber washer. You've got to make sure that it actually goes and seats in correctly as that's done. So that's all tidy. Right, so I've just undone these little clamps on here. They just sort of go around and push onto this metal part here. So I'm actually going to set this grass bag, just put that back underneath there. And hopefully I can just pull it all back round without having to take it all off. I should just be able to clamp it. You can see how this handle goes on top so you can get hold of it. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to push this in, just push this back round here, just put this back together. That's how it should have been originally. So I'm just going to fire this up and make sure it works or starts a bit better. Now it's got this new spark plug in. I'm hoping it'll just start up a little bit better. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I mean, it's not too bad. So I'm happy with that. I'm just going to clean this up and I'm going to ask £100 for this lawnmower. And on Facebook Marketplace, always price slightly higher because people you get ridiculous offers. Just put it on at 100, I'll probably accept £80–90 for that. That'll be a good £60–70 profit for me. So I'm just going to share something with you that seems real simple, but I'm just going to clean this in a minute. And this is where I believe that a lot of the profit comes from. If you don't know, if you remember right back to the beginning of the video, what this looked like, it was a real mess. All I've got is I just buy a massive thing of WD-40. I think it's up here. I've had it years. Yes, whatever that is, probably 5 litres of it. I'll just fill this up. And the sort of tip to doing it is just to cover it in it and make sure these wheels. See how the wheels look black? Just makes them look black. And when you've done it, kind of as soon as you've done it and it all looks real black, that's when you want to take your photographs before anything dries. I'm going to rub this round in a minute, and when you step back and actually take the photographs, I just use my iPhone now. It actually comes out really well, so I just usually do that, and then, you know, it's not I'm not detailing it here, am I? And all I do is just wipe it round. Just see how the front is, just a bit dirty there. Just wipe it round till it looks real clean and tidy. Don't leave it soaking wet, but you just want it to have that kind of shine on it, so when somebody sees it on Facebook, it kind of jumps out. You know, it looks like great condition lawnmower. Then start reading and the seat's been serviced, and you can list every single thing you've done with it, and you'll soon find yourself a buyer. And I always say this, but you only need one good buyer. Don't be tempted to give it away after you've done all this work, because there's always people out there who just want something similar to they've had before. Briggs & Stratton, Qualcast, people have heard of these sorts of things. If they think they can save themselves sort of 50–60 quid, they will do, and they'll come and buy this off you. A lot of people prefer these older mowers as well, these older looking ones, so I'm not going to go mad with that. But you can see, that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to take my photographs that look like that. I'm going to put it on Facebook Marketplace. Now, I don't know how many people have been on Facebook Marketplace, but most people just take a picture and it'll just say lawnmower, and that's it. There's no details. When you write a listing for eBay or for Facebook or for wherever you're going to sell this mower, you need to include every single benefit. This is all covered actually in an article on repairlawnmowersforprofit.com. It's actually an article on there, I think it's the second one down, entitled How to Make Money Selling Lawnmowers. But to sell these, you need to write yourself a proper description. So I'm probably going to list this as Briggs & Stratton Petrol Lawnmower, Qualcast, self-propelled, fully serviced, complete with grass box and a self-drive model. Then I'll list everything I've done, including cleaning the deck underneath, sharpening and balancing the blade. I'll write that the carb is in good working order. I'll write that the oil's clean, the air filter's clean, and it's also had a new pull cord fitted. I'll also just encourage them, if I'm on eBay, to check my previous feedback as well, and I'll make sure I take a photograph of every cable and all these little inner details, just so people can have a real good look. You get 12 photographs, I think it is, on Facebook. I think it's 12 on eBay as well, so use all 12. As I said, do not be in a rush to offer it to the first person that offers you 50 quid for it, because I want to make a good profit on this little lawnmower. It was only £20 this, if you remember back to the beginning. So if you haven't yet, please check out their website, which is repairlawnmowersforprofit.com. There's about 30 articles on there now covering all these. In fact, there's an in-depth article on servicing these Briggs & Stratton 35 classic engines as well. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. I've got a really fun video coming out after this on that little SV150. I'm going to do something quite weird with that, really. Might work and it probably won't, but we'll try it. So if you haven't subscribed, just hit the subscribe button and tick the bell notification. That way YouTube will keep you up to date with all my future videos, and I would really appreciate it if you do that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.